Hello and welcome to the Big Bark Podcast, bringing you the latest news from the canine world. Each week we talk to different professionals working in the canine industry across Ireland, from pet shop owners to groomers, behaviour specialists and vets. We will be discussing hot topics with our puppy panel, reviewing the best products, food and treats, the best places to take your dog on a day out, and the most dog-friendly venues in Ireland. We'll also be chatting with dog owners to find out more about the bonds that make a dog man's best friend. Your host for this podcast is Dara Burke, a dog lover with a passion for canine psychology and behaviour. Dara's own dogs, Bruno and Millie, will also join in from time to time and will be sure to offer their own big bark along the way. Time to bring on your host and start the show.
Welcome to episode 4 of the Big Bark Podcast, the canine podcast that comes to you from the heart of the Midwest in Ireland, Limerick City, and brings you the latest doggy news from all over the world. We've a very exciting show for you today. We're going to be chatting with Ciaran, the owner of Mutt Mitts Ireland, and Mutt Mitts provide environmental waste solutions to tackle the issue of, well, poop. Poopy poop. And in general, dog waste in Ireland. We have, as always, we have our puppy panel, and we have my wonderful canine co-host, my wonderful, fantastic golden Labrador Millie, who is here cuddled up to me, looking for lots of attention, as she is in every episode. I also have Bruno, who is my cool as a breeze, sound asleep right now, Labrador, who loves nothing more than generally sit on top of my lap and pretend that he is still a tiny puppy. Believe it or not, it's quite comfy. First of all, I want to say a big thanks, as always, to our amazing fans, our followers, our subscribers of the Big Bark, and to all our followers over on Instagram and Facebook of barkandmad.ie. We just got the latest figures, which show that episode 1 and episode 2 went straight in at number 1 of the Pets and Animals podcast category in iTunes for Ireland and the UK, while episode 3 came in at number 3 in the charts, which for a podcast that's only up starting out is pretty freaking awesome. So thanks to everyone for sharing the podcast, for listening in, week out, and a huge thanks to everyone who entered our competition over on Instagram last week. I have the winner of that. I'm going to announce it at the end of the show. So we're going to be chatting to our puppy panel shortly. We've got another amazing competition to give away, which again I'll announce at the end of the show. I don't want to announce it now. I kind of want to leave people hanging a small bit. Sorry guys, just get everyone to listen in. But let's just get right into this and let's meet our puppy panel for today. Joining me today is Emma, the owner of Polo, a beautiful boxer who made headlines locally in Limerick as the Limerick entrant of the Nose of Tralee competition, which is run by Pet Sitters Ireland. Hello, Emma.
Hello.
And I'm also joined on the line by Orlagh, who is the owner of Happy Pawws in Dublin and owner of the 11-year-old retriever collie cross called Baxter. Hi Orlagh, how are you doing?
Hiya. Good, not about her.
Emma, I'm going to start with you. Tell us about the Nose of Tralee and tell us about Polo being the entrant for Limerick for the Nose of Tralee. I was about to say Rose of Tralee, but Nose of Tralee is so much better.
So it's run by Pet Sitters Ireland. They've been doing it for about 6 years now. I think it was last year that I saw it on Instagram or Facebook or somewhere, and I was like, oh God, I wish I could have put Polo into that. She would have been great. So then obviously I was following Pet Sitters Ireland this year when it came around, and I was like, oh, I have to enter into it. But I never thought she'd get far. I just thought it was kind of cute and funny that there was a Nose of Tralee, and it was adorable that my dog was going to be put into it. So then when I was told that she was the Limerick Nose, I was like, wow, really didn't think she'd get that far. So no, it's been so much fun. Like, we've been bringing her to the post office and to 101 a bar just down the road and a few other businesses just to get her promoted so people would know about the competition. Like, it was great fun. I know she didn't win, but it was still so much fun having her in it.
Brilliant. And you were on a video clip that's online on Live 95, the local station.
Yeah.
And tell me about that, because Polo, you were mentioning earlier on off air to me that Polo was a bit distracted.
Yeah, so he wanted to interview Polo, but obviously she didn't speak. And every time he tried to talk to her, she just got distracted by the seagulls, so she just completely turned her body facing the other way. So then he was asking me the questions, but no, it's a good clip now. She gave him a few kisses in it as well.
Oh, lovely. Good. And Orlagh, tell me a bit there about your dog, about Baxter there.
Baxter's a retriever collie cross, so he basically looks like a black lab or black retriever even when he has his long hair. He's got groomed, so he looks now like just a black Labrador. He's brilliant. He just wants to be by your side all the time, and he's absolutely amazing. He recently passed the assessment to be like a therapy dog, so we're going to start going to nursing homes with him soon and visiting the elderly in nursing homes. So he's such a people person. He'd absolutely love it. So I know he's going to love it just as much as the elderly are going to enjoy him being there.
Brilliant. Awesome. And Orlagh, you're a dog walker, professionally, a dog walker, dog trainer in Dublin. Is that correct?
I am, yeah. I started my own business 6 months ago, so it's really after kicking off the last 2 or 3 months, so I'm doing really well at the moment, so I'm happy.
I believe you know Kelly, who we had on last week as well. Kelly was on actually episode 2 and 3. She came back for more on episode 3. So.
Yeah, I was actually only over with her today, and her dog Marley, he's actually gorgeous. He's so cute.
Lovely. So okay, what I want to touch on as well with both of you, like the bonds that are there between our dogs and us, and like what is it that you feel, Emma, that makes like Polo like just such a special dog?
It's so hard to describe. She's just the sweetest dog you could ever meet. Like, even with her brothers and sisters now, like if they start arguing, like she'll split it up, or if we're arguing, she'll leave the room. Like, she just hates conflict, and she's so sweet. She's always there to comfort you. And like when she got sick there a few months ago, she had an operation on her spleen. She had a tumour, and I wasn't told at the time, I suppose, because my family knew that I'd been very upset, but it was a very touch and go surgery. Like, she could have bled out, but she didn't. And I think her having the surgery and her being so close to death kind of made me realise that she actually means so much to me, and I really don't want to lose her. Like, she's 8 now, which is pretty old for a boxer.
Yeah. And Orlagh, what about Baxter? Like, how would you describe the bond that's there between the two of you?
Baxter was the run to the litter. So I don't know whether when I took him home for the first 6 weeks, he literally just, I'd sleep on the sofa and he slept on my chest. So I don't know if that's made him like an extra clingy dog, but I don't mind. I didn't mind doing it at the time. Like, he had to be hand fed and stuff. He wouldn't eat dog food or anything. So he had to get like special food, and I mushed it up and hand fed him and stuff. But I don't know, he just, like, he'd always know, let's say, like I had bad anxiety one day or had a bad day in work and came home, he'd know immediately with just looking at me, and he'd literally just, if I sat down on the sofa, he'd plant himself on top of me, and he'd literally just like, I'll cuddle you, it's okay. So forget about what happened today, like, now you're home with me, I'll fix you and stuff like that. He's just amazing. Like, he always knows my moods and stuff, like if I'm having a good day or a bad day, or if you wake up in a bad mood, like, you just go down to the kitchen and he's there, and he's like, forget about everything else and just give me a cuddle. Like, he's just amazing. Like, he's really good at judging your mood and stuff like that as well. Like, I like that if someone's actually upset, or say if you were crying and you walked into the room with Baxter, he'd be like, it's inseparable. Like, he would literally just sit on your lap, even though he's a big dog. He has like small dog syndrome. He literally get up on top of you and be like, it's okay, I'm here, don't worry about this. Like, so he's really, really good at judging meals and stuff like.
And you know what though, like, that's really true even for my own dogs. Like, they're like big babies. Like, just what you're saying there about he'll get up and have your lap. Like, Bruno and Millie are the same. Like, Bruno doesn't actually realise that he's not a little puppy anymore. He literally comes into the couch and will actually just sit full force on top of me or Jen and just sit.
Same as back.
He was in Jen's chest last night, and she was like, "Geez, you're choking me, but I don't want to get you off because you're so cute."
That happens at our house, but with all 3 boxers on top of you, like, and
at once.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
They love to pile onto each other, and they don't care if you're on the bottom.
So people get on.
So what I'm going to do, first of all, is I'm going to talk about a couple of different topics that we have here. Now, these will probably be, I suppose, two that you would be very familiar with. One of these is in relation to dog fouling, and you mentioned to me earlier on today about a dispenser that you put up in your local area. And
Yeah.
so 1/3 of all councils in Ireland, like county and city councils, have not issued a single fine for dog fouling. And in 2018, only 4 fines were issued in Dublin. So, like, you can be sure there was a hell of a lot more offences than that.
Yeah.
But, like, it's the same down here in Limerick as well. Just a few different points here. Like, there's very, like, really inadequate bin and dispenser services in many cities and counties. And, like, Limerick actually, I was talking to Ciaran from Mutt Mitts, Limerick has actually been the worst for bins and dispenser units. So
Oh, really?
there is only one actual dog bag dispenser unit that I have seen myself, and that is out in Castle Troy in the community park outside there. There's no actual, like, dog bag dispenser units anywhere in the city. I contacted the council myself about this. I contacted 5 different councillors, none of whom would actually comment, and the Environment Department upon were actually not available for comment. Now, Orlagh, tell me, what's it like in Dublin? Like,
There's only 4 fines is kind of surprising, just because, like, I've walked in loads of different areas around Dublin. Like, the majority of areas, even residential, they have signs on every second or third, like, it's got a light post that you will be fined, but there's no one enforcing it. Like, but there is, like, in my local park where my mum lives, there was a dog warden who spent about, I'd say, 3 months in 2018, literally just standing there in plain clothes. But he would go over to you, but if you had a second poo bag on you, he wouldn't fine you. He used to be like, oh, well, if you have a poo bag and you have a spare poo bag, that's okay. Once, if you went back and picked up your poo, he wouldn't fine you. Like, but it literally took him stock in that one little tiny park. Like I say, it was about 3 acres. Like, just a small little community park, and he used to be there for 3 months because there was a bad issue. There was about 500 poo bags piled up in a corner. Like, so everybody was picking it up but just throwing it there because everybody else was doing it. You know, kind of way. Like, people are picking it up. There's a lot of, I think, littering of poo bags in Dublin. Like, even walking down the road, I'd see poo bags left, right, and centre. People are picking it up, but they're not bringing it home.
yeah, and I think it's a problem in most counties. Now, what we'll hear in the clip from Ciaran is, like, he has actually worked with nearly every county council in Ireland. It is, like, a really bad issue. And I suppose from an environment and health point of view, it's like...
And they should take a leaf out of America's book, because I have a friend that lives in Boston, and if there's dog poo found, it's actually taken away and tested, and you find out what dog it's from. Like, when you get a dog, it's law that you have to get their DNA tested, so if they have it on file. So then if you foul somewhere in the city, then they're going to find out that it was you and they'll fine you.
Alright, so joining me now is Ciaran from Mutt Mitts. How are you doing, Ciaran?
Oh, great. Thanks, Dara. Thanks for inviting me on to your podcast.
So, Ciaran, tell me a bit about Mutt Mitts.
Well, very simply, Mutt Mitts was formed in 2012, late 2012. I had been in the United States. I saw these dispensers on a walkway. I said, God, I checked them out, and I rang the company. I said, this would be a good idea. So I went to a place called Rabbit Hash in Kentucky, and I spoke to the owners there, and we thought, yeah, this would be a good idea for Ireland. They thought it was great. I thought it was great. So went from there, and it's been running ever since.
Okay, and when did you start it up in Ireland? Or?
Well, we started up in Ireland 2012-ish. It was more really 2013, because I'd been away in London at the London Olympics in most of the end of 2012, from June until October, November. So it was really after that we got going. So you could say 2013.
Okay, awesome. And tell me about the products themselves.
The products at the moment, we deal mainly in bag dispensers and Mutt Mitts bags. So what we have at the moment, we have a presence in about 26 counties all over the Republic. The only counties at the present that we probably wouldn't have a great presence in would be counties like Sligo, Longford, Laois, a few of those counties, but we have the contacts there, and they're very positive. So we hope to have a presence in every single county in the Republic before the end of 2019.
Yeah, awesome. And just tell me a bit about what we do for councils, installing the waste dispensers and what kind of an impact it has on waste management.
Okay, what we do is for some counties and some tidy town groups, community organisations, we will actually site the dispensers for them. We'll go to the area, we'll have a look around, we'll see where the best places are for them, we'll see where the footfall is the greatest and where people walk their dogs, obviously, and then we will site the dispensers there. We will fill them then with bags, and we will give them replacement bags, like they come in boxes of 800, so they can get quite a large quantity of bags in just a few boxes. So then we will supply them on an ongoing basis. Some places we have an ongoing just arrive and deliver, and other places will give us either a phone call, or they will contact us via the website, or they'll contact us via my email, which is Ciaran@muttmitts.ie. We will then, every now and again, we will have a visit to the areas, and if we'll check out the dispensers, make sure that they're opening and closing properly so that people can refill them, and take out the old headers. And we'll also give them a clean, we'll just an ordinary warm water sponge, just to make sure there's a little bit of dust or a little bit of cobwebs can form in these things. So, and other than that, then we also would speak to groups in relation to their need for dispensers. We also work with them in relation to the cost. Obviously all these products nowadays have VAT attached to them, so we have to charge VAT. So the councils, sometimes they'll pay for a tidy towns group to get them, so they'll be able to look after the VAT. And we will just advise them. The advice obviously is free. We'll travel I've travelled up to Cavan several times. We don't charge for that, because we're looking at the bigger picture here, that we might get some business out of it, and if we don't, at least we're still spreading the word.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose there's a lot of problems there with dog owners, especially not being responsible, not cleaning up after them. I know around Limerick especially, there's a big lack of any sort of facilities around, especially Limerick City and on the boardwalk. It's just days if you actually walk down around there, and it's completely filthy to walk down around there.
Yeah, I'm based in Limerick Clare area myself, and I've seen that the boardwalk in the city, there was millions spent on these things. There was millions spent on Polly's Quay. They're fantastic amenities, but they are littered with dog waste, and there's no disputing that. There was some loudspeakers there for a while. They have their purpose, but long term they're probably not a great idea. If you're sitting there and a bird flies past, it activates it. So you're sitting there relaxing, looking at the River Shannon flowing away, and looking at canoes and roars going up and down, and you're hearing the sound. So it actually puts people off walking down there, enjoying the facilities. But if you want a clean area, you're going to have to do something proactive. And at present in Ireland, there is only 199,000 dog licences taken out. In the last year, records of 2018, there was 199,000. There's estimated by a lot of different sources that there's about 2 million dogs. So only 1 in 10 of the dogs you see walking on the streets are licensed. Probably less than that are chipped, and all dogs over 6 months now are supposed to be chipped. So the enforcement of these is minute, minuscule. So it's a huge issue. People are walking in it. I've seen several reports on social media. I spoke to an Australian group of rugby players that were here about 3 months ago. They were staying in the city, playing a couple of games, and the one thing they said they noticed was the amount of dog falling on the streets. Now, that might sound rich coming from me, because I'm in that business, but I wasn't talking to the guy as Ciaran from Mutt Mitts Ireland, I was talking to him as a rugby supporter. But he just commented that, and I said, that's funny because I'm in that business. And we chatted, and he said, well, you'd never see that in Australia, and you'd never see it in New Zealand. And that's because they're proactive, and it's an education. It's education, it's encouragement, it's enforcement. You educate people about the laws in relation to dog fouling. You educate them in where the dispensers are, that they can use bags, they can put them into any bin in the city. But then you encourage them then. You give them the dispensers. You put them up in walking areas. You put bags in them. You refill them when they're empty. You give them out free to people at events. Anything to do with dogs, you give them out. You give them out in the streets if necessary. You give them out on a sunny day when people are walking. And then you have to enforce the law. It's a very simple thing. Like this thing, you hear people, we're going to have to bring in new laws about dog fouling. It's terrible, terrible, terrible. That's, to be political, I'd say that's terrible. To be honest, that's BS. Because the laws are there. The Control of Dogs Act is quite clear that you have to bring something with you to pick up after your dog. So you don't need an extra law. The one thing I would suggest is that the penalties be changed. You're never going to collect €150 from somebody for dog fouling. No. You're never going to collect €200, I think it is in Limerick City, for not carrying a bag. What you will do, you will collect €20 from them. And someone's walking along the street without a bag to collect after their dog. You've put all the facilities there. They're just walking past them, and it's no good them telling you, my dog never goes to the toilet in the city. That's just a load of, codswallop. The dogs will go, and that's it. Yeah. You can't stop them. You can't say, hey, you can't go there. That's waiting to get home. So once you give them all the facilities, once you give them all the education, then you enforce. It's a very simple thing. Forget about trying to catch people's dogs going to the toilet in the street. You're never going to prosecute people for that because the chain of evidence, you're going to have to collect the dog poop, you're going to have to get a sample from the dog, you're going to have to get it all checked, DNA. That's a red herring. Forget about that. Yeah, it's costly. What you need to do is enforce people carrying bags. Enforce licenses, enforce chipping. There's the road to go down. Because once you do that, people will find that they have to have a bag, and then you fine them €20 for that. They'll pay the €20, and the next time they'll make sure they have a bag. Yeah. Trying to tell them that you're going to prosecute them for your dog pooping over there on the green. It's never going to happen. Look at the facts. The figures are there. There's only been a couple of prosecutions in the whole country for dogs pooping on the street. Yeah. Because the first thing they'll say when they go into court, chain of evidence. Where's the deposit that was left on the street? Yeah. Where's the chain of evidence that was minded all the way to the lab to be DNA tested? So you need to target other things. Target the bags, target the DNA, the chip, target the licenses. That's what you need to go on. And that's what Mutt Mitts is suggesting, and that's what we plan on bringing in another arm to our business in the next couple of months, that we will offer that service to the councils. We will offer a license checking system. We will offer a bag checking system. We will offer a system where we will check the dog for a chip, and then we will put it to the owner of the dog or the person walking the dog or whoever. These are the things you need. You have a choice. Do you want to get a license, or do you want to get a dog chipped, or do you want to carry bags, or do you want to have a fine? Yeah. It's not a money-making exercise. It's to extend and educate the people that if we offer that service, it takes that service away from the county councils, the pressure that they're under, but it will be self-financing, because if you look at 199,000 dogs, that's €4 million a year, when they should be bringing in 40 million. Yeah. And that then would pay for our services, would pay for bag dispensers all over the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And just going back there, touching on, you mentioned the Control of Dogs Act, and have you read much into the public consultation that's going on right now? We covered this actually in episode 1, where it actually seems to be, rather than in relation to dog farming, there seems to be a lot more of a heavier focus on restricted breeds in that review.
Yeah, the thing I find about these reviews is that the reviews are always seem to be held by some people that are not in the trade.
Yeah.
They're held by senior officials above in some department. They're held by the people that involve themselves in these things, that have the say, are like Department of Health officials, Department of Education, veterinary officers. But they never ask, or never appear to ask, anybody in the industry. Now, Mutt Mitts Ireland is one of the biggest supplier of dog-fouling produce, we'll say, in the country at the present time. Now, there is other people out there as well, but I'm not aware of any of them being asked. I certainly haven't been asked for my contribution. And then we'll come out with all restricted breeds that they have to restrict this and that and the other. Yeah, yes, fine. There are certain dogs out there that are deemed to be dangerous, and restrict them, and that's no problem. But if you're going to restrict them, then you have to go up to the places in the cities where these dogs tend to be more plentiful, like the bulldogs and boxer type dogs. I'm a fan of all dogs, but there are certain types. And there's crossbreeds being done. If you're going to restrict these dogs, then they have to have a muzzle on them and all the rest, then you have to target the guy walking down the street with the Rambo t-shirt on him, walking down the street with 2 or 3 of these dogs with no muzzles on them, and probably no license either. But I'm not trying to stereotype these guys, but you do see them.
Yeah.
Let's call a spade a spade. So restrictive dogs, yes, there's a place for that. It's like there's a place for the licenses for other dogs and for those dogs as well. So, it's a cover-all. You have to cover everything. And like this public consultation, I'm sure it'll come up with some good ideas. But I think input from the trade and from the business side of it, and from the providers of dog fouling bags, like we're obviously know what's going on, and we're in every county, so. It wouldn't kill anybody to give us a phone call and say, what do you think of this and what do you think of that?
Yeah.
I'm sure, you have to expand to all distributors and people in the industry. It can't be just officials in an office.
Yeah, very true. Very true. And tell me, Ciaran, your product, like the actual bag itself, I've used it myself quite often, and it's even like I was over to Killaloe there at the weekend, and just to see the dispensers, and I would actually walk a friend's dog outside there, and just like the cleanliness of the bag, it's much different than any other bag in the fact that it has a scoop actually on the bottom of it.
Yeah, our bags, without question, are the best quality bags in the market. They're easy to use. The bag itself has a double layer at we call it the business end, where you actually put your hand into the bag, you go to pick up the dog poo, and it has a double layer, so you don't, like, obviously dogs when they poo, it's like any, dog poop is warm, it can be all sorts of formulations, but when you go to pick it up, if you're picking it up with a bag that you get in a butcher shop that you put your mince into, you're going to feel the heat, you're going to feel the whole product. And if you're going to encourage people to pick it up, then you pick these items up, you have to give them good quality. The days of shipping out 1 million bags of absolute dross quality to people, people deserve better than that. Service users, which are the taxpayers, the people that walk their dogs, the people that are using these bags need proper quality bags. And it's no point saying to somebody, you can buy 100,000 bags in Lidl for a tenner. But then you use 1,000 bags every time to pick it up, So it's not much good to you at the end of the day. You need good quality. Our bags, when you put them on, and I'm a big sized guy with big long arms, I'm 6'2", and the bag nearly goes up to my elbow. So when I pick this up, I can pull the bag then down over my hand with complete comfort, and at the very end of it then I have the bag. It doesn't leak, it doesn't drip out stuff. You know, you can carry it for miles, and then you put it into a bin. If you want to carry it for miles. Now, if you don't want to carry it for miles, you can obviously put it into a closer bin. But if you just want to bring it for a spin, you can. And you can also use it then as a cup for water. On a very, very hot day, you're out walking, you can actually put your hand into the bag, make a little cup of it, and then leave it down. Fill it with water from your bottle, give it to your dog, and your dog will lick away out of it, no problem. So that's another interesting thing about it. You can't do that with a paper bag. Try it. You know, get back to me. Tell me how you got on. Ciaran at muttmitts.ie. I'd love to hear you putting a bottle of Ballygowan into your paper bag and see did your dog drink out of it before it collapsed on the ground. So, good quality. You know, I'm not here to knock any other quality bags. I'm just saying that if you don't give good quality, people won't use them. And we have the best. We were voted the best bag in the market. A huge survey done by Paw Pals a couple of years ago. We stand over our bags. We stand over our dispensers. They don't get rusty. If they do, by some quirk of fate, we'll replace it without question. There won't be any argument. We'll say, didn't do what it said in the tin, so we'll replace it. Same with our bags. If our bags aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, we will find out why, and we will sort it. So, give people the best quality. We give them the best quality. We're prepared to stand over it.
Fantastic. Brilliant. And before I wrap up, obviously, I want to talk to you about your own dog. An unusual kind of quirky name that you have for your dog. I think you're a bit of a pizza fan, really, are you?
Yeah, well, I'm a pizza fan, there's no doubt about it, but I couldn't call my dog Hawaiian, not in Ireland, it just wouldn't sound right. So I had a dog called Pepper. I had her for 18 years, sheepdog. Actually got her from a neighbour out the road, and it was interesting because she was only a couple of weeks old, and they said, you know, we have a couple of sheepdog pups, would you like one? Now, in a village, a sheepdog pup, you're kind of going, oh, okay. But anyway, the little one decided she liked this pup. So, funny enough, the dog got parvovirus, and as a lot of dog owners would know, that's like, you know, a death sentence for dogs. And dogs, when they're not well and that, they'll go and hide. So she kept running out the door and hiding in the garden and hiding under trees. So we had to nearly confine her to the house, but she wasn't getting well, so I have to pay a special mention to a vet that used to be in Scariff. He's retired now, Tom Henley. You know, you'll be talking about vets and you'll be talking about nice people. He brought that dog up to his surgery and kept her for a whole week on a drip in that surgery, and made sure, and came in at night time to make sure she was okay. Came 2 and 3 visits every night for a whole week. So luckily enough, she made it, and I went to pay him, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to trade in one of the kids here for the payment. And he said he had been in business 25 or 30 years at the time, and he had never saved a dog from parvo until this one. So he said this one was on him. So I always remember that, and it's funny because Pepper, it was the dog's name, always hated him. Every time she'd see him, she'd growl and she'd bark, and so you can imagine they had a bit of a love-hate relationship. But Pepper was getting old, so friends of mine said they had a little cross between a terrier and a sheepdog. Now, I don't really want to go into the technical side of that, but the sheepdog was the dad and the little terrier was the mom. And, you know, I suppose I could be fickle and say, well, I knew both the little dog's parents, the puppy's parents, great families. So I said, okay, if she's from these mixed, she can't be too bad. So she came and joined Pepper, so we called her Pepperoni. So Pepperoni then minded Pepper as she was getting old, and Pepper unfortunately got a stroke, and, you know, she got a second stroke, and, you know, her time, 18 years was up, so, you know, Pepperoni is the head of the house. Not too sure what I call if something happens to her and I have to get another dog. I'm not really sure what I call her. maybe people can contact me there on, as I say, Ciaran@muttmitts.ie and tell me what the next version of pepperoni.
We could do a poll for you at some stage.
Correct.
Maybe.
Pepperoni.
That's next.
As I say, I like Hawaiian pizza, but I can't really call it Hawaiian. It wouldn't be fair. So I'm open to suggestions. So that's my own dog. She's a little cross between a sheepdog and a terrier or Jack Russell or one of those. And she's a long kind of a body on her. And then she's a little bit taller than a terrier. So, when you look her in the eye, she looks up at you and go, tell me who I am. I can't. But yeah, she's a great little dog, great house dog. She barks and barks and barks, and she really is the king of the castle. And one thing I will say about her is that if you're ever feeling a little bit down, she'll just come up in your lap and she'll just lie there. She doesn't do anything. So, dogs, they're definitely a man's best friend.
Absolutely, and this is going to be touching on what I spoke with Kelly and Michael last week on episode 3 about, and that was paying particular attention to the bonds that we have with our dogs.
Correct.
You mentioned that you lost your own dog after 18 years. If you don't mind me asking, I had a dog myself a few years ago that I lost as well. That must leave an empty space.
Yeah, it was very hard, very hard. I was away at the time, and I got a call from the lady who was mine saying that she was deteriorating big time. I wasn't going to be back for a week. The vet came on, and Grania, she's the vet in Scariff now, and she said that it wasn't fair on her to keep her around, so they had to put her down, and it just broke my heart, But Grania, in fairness to her, she actually went instead of just dumping her into a bin at the back of the vet's house or skip or whatever, she actually went and buried her then, and she rang me to say that Pepper had her revenge on her for putting her down, that herself and her husband, I think her fiancé at the time, but her husband now had got bit by about 1 million midgets when they were burying her. So I suppose Pepper did have her final say, but it was very hard. I have pictures of her still, and I still look at her picture and go, what a great dog. I often looked at her and I almost expected her to talk. Now if she had, I'd have kept her alive somewhere and we'd have made millions around the world. Ciaran and his talking dog, but I was looking at her several times, expected her to say, hiya Ciaran, but she never did, and it was almost like losing a family member. That's like 18 years I had her, So it was hard, I can tell you. I have never forgotten. That's about 8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And she still, and even neighbours of mine, they still mention how good she was. And I tell you, didn't come near the house when she was there. Many a night my neighbour was passing and going home drunk. I won't say who the neighbour is. Kevin O'Brien, your secret is good with me. But he'd say, did you have a good night last night? And he'd say, what do you mean? I said, well, you were going home around 3 o'clock. I can't understand why you're walking through my yard to go home, but anyway. And he said, how do you know that? Because Pepper used to bark like mad. So that's how I knew you were. So, good man, Kevin. Thanks for waking me at 3 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, it was hard. There's no doubt about it. It was very hard. Yeah.
And I can completely resonate with that because, like I said, I lost my own dog Coco 3 years ago, and it really is like losing a part of the family. It's weird because, even though you mentioned that you had pepperoni, I got Bruno literally the following day as well. But you know what? I think there's some comfort as well. Having another dog there, they know what you're feeling, and they are some comfort.
Well, I think definitely, because Pepperoni was actually there when Pepper was very, very sick, and she was get into the dog basket beside her, and she'd just kind of lie there with her. Yeah. And Pepperoni was just about able to get up and go out, do her business, and come back in. She was really struggling. She couldn't eat hardly, but Pepperoni would lie in beside her, and we'd put the food down, and she'd kind of nudge Pepper to get up, and she'd get up and eat something, then Pepper would kind of follow her, and it was a huge comfort. And then when she passed, or when she was had to go, her time had come, that Pepperoni kind of just came up and just put her head in my lap, and you'd almost say, it's okay, I'm here now, I look after you. And it was huge. And I remember Coco as well, Darrow's dog, and I can imagine the trauma. People say, I know how you're feeling, and you say, how do you know that? You've never had a dog.
Yeah, exactly.
But the person says to you, I know how you're feeling, and they've had a dog, you know exactly that.
Yeah.
But that they do know how you're feeling. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
And she's a great dog. So.
And you look back, you'll always look back at the happy memories, the two you had.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure that yourself and Pepperoni have already made so many.
Oh God, yeah. It's great when you take Pepperoni out. She always wants to fight the big dogs. I'd be telling her, start with the small ones, build up. But no, she will pick in the biggest dog. If an elephant came along and two giraffes, she'd have to pick the elephant, She just wouldn't pick the smaller one, the giraffe, the lighter one. Oh no, sticks the chest out, up onto the biggest dog and backs. But she's a lot of fun, and when you let her out, she does laps at the house. You can run all the way around the house, and when you're doing maybe cutting the grass, she will do about 40 laps. And you come back in, and then she's panting inside, and she'll lay down, she'll fall asleep. So, I don't know why she does all the laps, but that's what she does. She just runs around and around, and then falls asleep. And then she'll want to sit in your lap as she falls asleep. So she's a cracker. Yeah, we've good fun. Yeah,
fun, and that's what you want. Yeah. And Ciaran, just to finish up, if anyone wants to purchase some Mutt Mitts off you, how do they get in contact with you? Or
yeah, it's very easy to get in contact with me. We have a Facebook page, Mutt Mitts Ireland. Go on it there. It has a lot of information about where Mutt Mitts are, where the new places that they're being put into. It also, you can contact me on Facebook page, which obviously just message me, DM or whatever, or put a notice up on it. You can contact me at Mutt Mitts, Ciaran at muttmitts.ie. That's an easy email. Even I can remember that. Or you can ring me at 087 2244039. Very easy numbers to 2244039. It's and it's very simple. Just contact us and we'll do the rest. Tell us what you want and we'll have it to you in a couple of days. There's no panic, and sometimes they'll even come and deliver it myself. So what better deal could you get? For free.
That's brilliant, Ciaran. Listen, thanks ever so much for joining me today on the Big Bark. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you.
Thanks, Darragh. It's always a pleasure meeting up with yourself, and I know how you interact with dogs. I know you have two dogs yourself, and it's a great pleasure talking dog to somebody.
It really is. Thanks, Ciaran.
Thanks.
A great piece from Ciaran and a great informative insight into dog waste measures in Ireland and the work that Ciaran does with different councils in improving not only dog waste management but working to improve the legislation and working to improve the different efforts of how to combat the dog waste situation overall. If you do want to get in contact with him, your email address again is Ciaran at muttmitts.ie. What I'm going to do now is our little game first of all, and then I'll move on to the next topic. So, if you listened to the podcast last week and you heard of the game that I call Name That Crossbreed. So this week I'm changing it up a small bit. This week I'm going to do a mix of crossbreeds and full breeds as well.
Okay.
So first of all, I'm going to get both of you to answer this particular one. So this is a pure breed. Okay, I'll let Orlagh, you go first.
Labrador.
And Emma, would
Labrador,
you agree?
yeah.
Well, that was an easy one to start with. And okay, so this one is a crossbreed.
Definitely half corgi.
What would you say, Orlagh?
I don't know, maybe a Corky Beagle, maybe.
Corgi Beagle?
Yeah, I'd say it's corgi beagle.
You're both right. It is called a corgi.
Brilliant.
Cork.
A Corgan. Some of these, I'd love to know who actually thought up the names of these because they're really interesting. So this one is obviously this is a hint, not a crossbreed. This is a pretty easy one.
Yorkshire Terrier?
What do you think, Orlagh?
Yeah, Yorkshire Terrier.
Okay. Like I say, I'm trying to make some of them easier because the feedback I got last week was like, oh my god, these are deadly. Okay, so this one is...
It's crossbreed, yeah.
It's a crossbreed, yeah.
It's a poodle, and it looks like the colours of a Bernese.
That's what I was going to say, a poodle Bernese.
Okay, and let's see what this is called. And this is a Bernedoodle.
Bernedoodle.
So again, I'd love to know who came up with the names for these. So okay, this I'm gonna. This will be, you don't know this. This is a very obvious one that everyone should know this.
Yeah, it's a boxer.
A boxer, yeah.
Not as cute as mine.
I love the boxes that have a bit of white on them too. It's like Okay, so beautiful boxer. Now this one is a bit tougher. This is a crossbreed, and it's a big breed cross with a small breed.
A sausage dog.
Like, would it be a dachshund retriever because there's a bit of long hair in there? Or like, how would that work?
I'd love to know, but that is actually what it is. This is a golden dachshund.
Oh, very good. Oh, sorry.
That's doing way better than last week. You're gonna have a chat with Kelly about this one now because Kelly and Michael didn't do so well last week. So far you've got them all right now. This one is this will be a nice hint here. Let's take Marmaduke.
This is a purebred, yeah?
It's a purebred, yeah. So have
Great Dane.
Yeah. So okay.
A what?
A Great Dane.
Oh yeah.
Now this one is a crossbreed as well.
I can never pronounce the breed of dog it's crossed with. I know it, but I can't pronounce it.
What do you think, Orlagh?
Oh, is it a Shar-Pei it's crossed with? They're a wrinkly ones, aren't they? A Shar-Pei.
An English bulldog.
Yeah, Shar-Pei and an Old English bulldog, I'd say.
You're right on one of those.
Oh no.
It's an English bulldog crossed with a pug.
Oh, where's that
with a pug?
The wrinkles I say come from the bulldog.
Yes.
Yeah, the old bulldog. I want one of them. They're actually fabulous.
All right. So that was the last one. Yeah, did. What did he get? 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did very well. So, okay. And this is one that I really want to touch on you a lot about here because you're very, talking to you during the week, you're fairly familiar with the situation that has happened in...
yeah, actually on my doorstep nearly where it happened practically. That picture, that's what frightened me. That picture is actually, I'd say, 100 metres from my front door where they were seen, and I actually walked 3 dogs by that exact spot on Friday, so I was very lucky. I missed a few dogs, to be honest.
So just to give them a way back on the Yorkshire Terrier that was savaged by 2 Japanese Akihas, and this is courtesy of Dublin Live.ie, where I got this from, and I was walking her 2 young grandkids back to school with a tiny Yorkshire Terrier called Rocky, a large dog attacked from behind, and Japanese Akihas, as we know, are restricted breeds in Ireland. I think
the American ones, to be fair, I know they reported they were Japanese, but to be honest, I think they were American.
Oh, were they Americans? Okay. So the little granddaughter, who was, I think, 9 years old, I believe, grabbed the little dog from the Akiha's mouth, and luckily a neighbour was actually, from what I read, a neighbour was passing by at the time and was able to get the child with the dog into the car. Seeing as you have a bit more familiarity around the area, about the area, would you tell us about this?
Yeah, actually, well, to be honest, her mother actually contacted me yesterday, so I've been in touch with the parents actually of the children who the attack happened to, so I would be fairly familiar with it. But basically, like, as far as I know it, it was all based on we have a WhatsApp group for our house estate, and they were seeing at 10 o'clock in the morning these two loose dogs, and everyone's really good. They'd be like, oh, is anybody missing their dogs? Is anybody's dog out? Is anybody home? Please bring them into the gardens or whatever. But obviously no one in our estate knew them, and then later on I got reported that they were used to like a river walk, which is literally just across the road from the entrance to the estate, and then by the time after lunchtime came about, it said that they'd attacked a man, they'd bitten a man, they'd attacked another dog, and it turns out actually Kenny posted on my post that I just put it up basically just to warn dog walkers in the area, please don't walk your dog until we know that, because as far as I was told at 11:30 at night they were still loose. I didn't know whether it was still roaming or whether the owners had collected them. I think at this stage, as we've found out, the owners I think may have collected them about 6 o'clock that evening and took them home, but still not confirmed. Apparently these two dogs have gotten out, I'd say 10, 12 times in the last 2 or 3 years.
Oh my God.
So it's just at this stage, like if they've actually killed the dog. On Friday they attacked a German Shepherd, a man walking the German Shepherd was muzzled. So obviously he intervened and somebody else chased the two dogs off. So they left the German Shepherd. I don't know if the German Shepherd was injured, but I think that man was bitten. Then there was a woman, I can't think of her name, but I think she had a little white beige on. She actually ended up in the vet. The back of that dog was like ripped open, and I think the throat as well. I'm not sure. But going by the pictures, it was a lot of damage done to that dog. And then obviously the third dog we got was a little Yorkshire Terrier, poor Rocky, and the late old was holding the lead. The white Akita apparently just came up from the back. No warning signs on nothing. They couldn't see anything. They literally just dogs came from the back and attacked, and then the little girl got over Alexandra. She hit the white dog on the head. Didn't realise how dangerous the situation was. She's very lucky the dog didn't redirect on her, to be honest. So when she hit the dog on the head, the dog actually for a split second released its jaws, and she pulled her dog from the dog's mouth, and kind of took off down the road. And like you said, they got into a neighbour's car. But when they were getting into the neighbour's car, the two Akitas were actually in chase of her at that time. So she's very lucky they got into the car when they did. Yeah. So it's just a really, really dangerous situation. They're really just like a load of gun waiting to happen. Like, they just shouldn't be out on a company. They're a big breed. They're bred for taking down livestock. Like the two of them together is just, you're not going to win in that situation, no matter how experienced you are. Even with myself, like I've been trained how to separate a dog fight. But that's the one dog on one dog. Like it's not 2 on 1. I'd have no chance of separating if I had been. What if they had passed me and I bumped into them on Friday? The two dogs I was walking, they could very well be in the next victim, you know, that kind of way, like. Yeah.
And you know, like just going back to like that 9-year-old girl, Alexandra, like, and I suppose when it comes to our dogs, just instinct takes over as well. And it's like, I know for a fact I'd do anything to protect my dogs, but at the same time, you don't want your own hand bitten off, or you don't want it to lose a leg or anything with breeds like this.
Yeah, exactly. Like in fairness, like my dog has been attacked once or twice when I'm walking him by off-lead dogs, and obviously I've a bit of experience or whatever. I've no issue jumping in and pulling 2 dogs off my own dog, but like with 2 Akitas, I don't know whether I'd think twice. I probably wouldn't, in fairness, if it was my own dog, but like at the same time, you're not really going to win that fight with 2 Akitas. Like,
yeah, it's a very sad situation, and if you happen to know like the family that were involved, do pass on our condolences as well for the
I definitely will. The plan is now at the moment, in fairness, they've buried Rocky, but the little girl got over. She just, when she's closing her eyes, obviously are going to sleep, but she's just thinking of Rocky, and she's afraid to leave the house now at the moment, because as far as she's concerned, the dogs are going to come for her. They didn't get Rocky, so they're coming for her. So God love her, and it will take her a while to get over that. But fingers crossed she will eventually get over it. But sure, it will something that will stick with her forever, I assume.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm going to move on to what is probably, hopefully, a bit more lighter. That was a very tough topic, I think, and like let's probably try and get a bit more, I suppose, something a bit more lighter. So I suppose everyone is kind of familiar with Boris Johnson, the new PM, who nobody over the side really seems to like, for a lot of good reasons. But in one good news, this week he did adopt a 15-year-old Jack Russell Cross, that should be 15-month-old, I'm assuming, Jack Russell Cross rescue puppy named Dylan. So the dog was adopted by Boris Johnson and his partner from Friends of Animals Wales in Rwanda. It was abandoned by a puppy farmer because it was undershot and had a misaligned jaw. I'm not really sure how Larry, the resident cat number 10, is going to feel about this, because Larry has served under 3 Prime Ministers, and when Theresa May used to be speaking outside of 10 Downing Street, you often see Larry just walk past and just appear in the camera. Now, the one thing I will say, I don't have a huge amount of time for Boris Johnson myself, but he's a big advocate for animal welfare, and there's a new law after being passed and is due to come into effect next spring called Lucy's Law, which will ban the sale of puppies and kittens by third parties by next spring. So he's doing something right there, and judging on Sky News today, how long will he be in power? God only knows. He's doing something right there anyway, and it's great to see that there are top level politicians who actually do care about animal welfare as well.
Yeah, definitely. No, it needs to be highlighted as well. I know you can be off animal welfare, but a lot of people have this. I don't know whether it's social media or what it has, but it's just increasing purebreds and bad breeding, and everybody wants a designer dog and a handbag dog, or they want the best of the best. Oh, my puppy has show parents and stuff. I just think that's ridiculous. There's thousands of dogs need to be rescued, and Iron Rescue's looking for their forever home. I just think if the celebrities and stuff start promoting that rather than the designer dogs, it would be a lot better for animal welfare.
My first boxer, Oreo, obviously we had never gotten a dog before, so we didn't know anything about where to get them, whatever. So we ended up getting it from what we now know as a dog breeder. And when we picked her up, we were told that it's normal for dogs to have worms and covered in fleas, they're born with it apparently. So we got her, and she was very, very skinny. She had the pot belly because she was malnourished. She was all bones. She was riddled in worms. You could see the fleas just crawling over her skin. She had hip dysplasia. She was underweight. It was when we brought her to the vet was so furious because he knew that she came from there. And a few years down the line, I was talking to a woman who lives in the area where the dog breeder is. And when I told her the area of where we got her, she was like, "Oh, you didn't get it from so-and-so." And I was like, "Yeah, we did." And she was like, "He treats the dogs horribly. They're just left out in the shed. He doesn't care about them. He just wants the money."
And the one good thing about this review of the Control of Dogs Act, which is one thing that they're looking at, is banning, for example, the sale of breeds or the sale of dogs online, which would be, if legislation is needed, because I think social media, and I think the likes of Done Deal and these sites have just made it way too easy for these puppy farmers and illegal breeders to operate.
Yeah. I've seen it way too many times that people will buy a dog off Done Deal, and then it's this little thing that's probably not even a dog. And they have to get put down because their life is just pain, because they've been inbred to create this tiny little teacup dog.
Yeah. And
it's just, it needs to be put down.
Yeah. It's awful. Okay. Not sure how that one turned out either, but okay, so let's see. Now, something I'm going to introduce. This is the first time I'm doing this on the podcast, given that it's only episode 4. We're going to be introducing new features as we go forward. So this week is the first one of the Dogs of the Week. So we have 2 dogs that we're going to be looking at here, and these are great followers of Bark and Mad on Instagram. And the first is called Max. Max is 50% Golden Retriever and 50% Irish Setter. And he's a handsome boy who loves his walks. He loves the beach and posing for pictures. And he has his own Instagram page called Maximilian14. So Max_A_Million14. So he's I always see photos of him popping up, and he's always tagging Bark and Mad in photos as well. So we often share his photos on the story as well. So his brother then, who looks nothing like him. This is the other dog that they own. This is Cooper. So Cooper is a Jack Russell. He loves to chew things. He is a brother from another mother to Max. And you can follow him on Instagram as well at Cooper_and_Co. So 2 lovely dogs, and we're going to have more Dogs of the Week going forward in each episode as well. And if anyone wants to get their Dogs of the Week in, just tag us over on Instagram at barkandmad.ie. Okay, so given that like all, I suppose, big fans of like the various adoption agencies, this is a feature just last week called the Adoption Corner. I'm going to be liaising with like different animal welfare groups each week. So last week we did a dog action welfare group down in County Cork. We featured them, and this week it's the turn of Madra. So Mutt Anonymous Dog Rescue and Adoption, who are based in Carrow in County Galway. So literally way out on the West Irish coast. And what we do here is we just pick a couple of dogs and just share their story. These are dogs who are looking for their own forever homes. First up, we have Freya, aka Freeway. I don't know how either of those even sound alike, but she's a lab cross collie, very affectionate, obedient and placid, and she will not be trustworthy around sheep apparently. So maybe that could be how she ended up in the shelter. And she needs secure garden on urban setting. And if you're interested in adopting Freya, you can go to madra.ie. And Milo is the next one. Milo is a 3-year-old German Shepherd, was surrendered to the pound. He's a big soft boy who's struggling in kennels, and he's looking for a home with experience at the breed. So once again, you can go to madra.ie if you're interested in adopting Milo from Madra. Next up, we have Jamie, who is our golden oldie choice, as we're going to call it. Jamie is 9 years old, and okay, I think I probably forgot to update the actual description, but I think I forgot to update the description from last week. But a beautiful collie looking for its home as well from Madra. So again, you can go to madra.ie and find more information there. And then we have Bernard, who is a Pomeranian. And I think Michael, if he's listening, and the fact that he's over in Ireland actually this week with Burley, who knows, might want to put on his sister. Bernard it's an unusual name for a Pom, if you ask me, but is 5 years old and a stunning Pomeranian boy. Has spent time at the pound, and now he's at the shelter, ready to begin his next chapter in life, the one where he finally finds the home he deserves. So he's under assessment for now, but he would prefer the company of adults. So, Michael, if you're listening, there's another Pom there for you to meet with and Amelia Clark there, maybe. Okay, so I think I have one or two other features to do. This one is called the Big Back Birthday Shoutout. So we have a dog whose birthday is the 4th of September. And this is Dyson. So Dyson is a Northern Inuit, I believe is how you pronounce it. So these were used in Game of Thrones as direwolves, and the most famous of this breed in Game of Thrones, I believe, is Ghost. I've never, as I mentioned last week, I've never actually seen Game of Thrones, but I've seen plenty of pictures of the direwolves in Game of Thrones, and he is 7 years old on the 4th of September.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Basically, what I'm just going to ask both of you now is, I'm going to start with you, Orlagh. What's your favourite feature about Baxter? Like, what do you love most about Baxter?
Baxter, probably his ears, even though they're floppy ears. I don't know. Every time he moves, there's a different way. He has a different facial expression. Like, they don't just stay floppy. He has to perk them up, or I don't know. It's just like you were saying last week, the puppy dog eyes. He just really enforces his puppy dog eyes with whatever way his ears are. So it just drags you in, just wants treats.
Lovely. And Emma, what about you?
I think I have a photo to show you. My favourite part of Polo is this little bit of lip that just comes down.
It's gorgeous. I did that as well, actually. Oh.
Yeah, and she has an overbite as well, so sometimes she shows like a little smile and you just start laughing at her. She's really conscious of know why you're laughing at her. It's so cute.
Oh.
Well, look, guys, we're going to leave it at that for this week. Thank you both so much for joining me. Orlagh, it was a pleasure. Thank you for joining all the way from Dublin. And it was great to hear a bit more about Baxter. If anyone wants to find out a bit more about Happy Pawws, how do they get in contact with you?
Yeah, it's Happy Pawws with 2 W's, because there's a Happy Pawws dog room in Dublin as well. So I've spelled it with Happy Pawws, PAWWS. attached to Happy Pawws on Facebook, or Instagram it is at happy_paws with 2 W's _dog walking. So Facebook or Instagram.
Brilliant. And Orlagh, thanks very much for joining us, and hopefully we'll have you on the show again soon. And Emma, thanks so much for
coming on
and talking about polo and sharing your story as well. It's been a pleasure to both of you, and before we wrap up, it's time to just announce the winner of our competition from episode 3. So we are giving away a basket of treats courtesy of Raw Pet Treats and the Barking Baker. The winner of our episode 3 competition is Anya from Galway, who has a beautiful beagle named Hunter. Congrats, Anya. We'll be in touch to get that out to you in the next few days. And now our competition for this episode. Once again, we'll be giving away another wonderful treat basket full of treats from Raw, the Barking Baker, and we're including some Mutt Mitts to clean up after your dog to ensure that you don't get a nasty fine. And 2 runners up will each receive a bag of Raw jerky also. To enter, post a picture of your dog on Instagram, tag barkingmad_IE, and we will be picking the cutest doggies in our next episode who will be in the running for this awesome prize. That's all for this week. Coming up in episode 5, we'll be chatting with Urban Tales Doggy Daycare in Limerick. We'll have a brand new puppy panel once again to tell us about their dogs. Have a barking mad week, and we'll chat to you next episode.